Yeah, I'll be fine.
Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Here we go.
I'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. We are live. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. It would be wonderful if you might all sort of just let us know that you can hear us in the chat. Maybe let us know where you're from. Any other information. This really is a session for you. Oh, good. I see that Julie is here, or July. Sorry, July. July, are you the only one in this session? Anybody else out there? Excellent. Wonderful. Someone from Ithaca College up in the Gorge area. Moose Jaw, South Dakota. That's terrific. New Mexico. We're from all over the place. Excellent. Welcome, everybody. The third day of Blackbaud Develop Days. You are here for troubleshooting with support. At the end of the session, we are recording. So at the end, that'll actually take 24 hours or so, and you'll be able to find a recording of the session in the on-demand tab. I am Michele Koenig. I'm a customer success manager at Blackbaud. I'm on the K-12 vertical. Customer success managers are your partner and advisor to help customers drive increased value from their existing Blackbaud solutions and services toward your expressed outcomes. And I have the good fortune today to introduce you to David Martin. David comes from our support team and has been at Blackbaud for 16 years and has a plethora of tips and ideas for how you can take more advantage of support when you're calling in or creating a ticket. He has some slides to go through. We're going to do a little screen sharing. If you have questions, over on the left-hand side of your screen, there's a little icon with Q&A on it. It would be terrific if you would use that Q&A widget for your questions and answers so we can keep track of them and respond to them at the end. Let's see. I think that's it. At the end of the session, I will launch a quick survey, so hang tight. It's only about 4 questions. But at this time, I want to push you over to the main event, which is David Martin. So take it from here, David.
Thank you very much, Michele. Hi, welcome to this short session. As Michele said, it's on engaging with customer support. Now, I hope you're having a wonderful conference, and I hope you get good takeaway from this session as well. So my name is David Martin. I joined Blackbaud in 2008. I moved to CRM in 2013. I became the product lead for CRM in 2018 and then principal in 2021. So yeah, I've been here 16 years and I absolutely love it. I love working for Blackbaud. I live in Stirling, Scotland, but have a very thick Glasgow accent. I will do my best to calm it, but please flag it if I go too Scottish on you. And I'll also warn you that this is not my natural environment by any means. And the last time I did a presentation was for my Blackbaud interview. So it's been a long time. But I'm passionate about support and I'm passionate about our engagement with our client base, and I couldn't miss this opportunity. So with that, we'll get started. Now, the object of this session, as Michele said, is to give you a brief overview of support, the way we work, our boundaries, and how to get the best from us. Hopefully, this will give you the information, examples, and knowledge that will reduce resolution time and give you the information to engage with support optimally, while reducing the amount of contact needed. And let's face it, ideally, you want to submit a ticket and in a timely manner hear back from support with the resolution. And today's session is how you can help us try to achieve this. Now, as I said, it's a pretty short session. It's just who we are, where you can help us, engaging with us, a couple of example cases, and then any questions you have. Now, we are a global support team. We're based on 3 regions. We have the US and Canada, we have Europe, and we have APAC, which is our Australian, Singapore, Pacific clients. We have offices in each region and hundreds of remote workers throughout. Now, personally, having worked with Blackbaud since 2008, I can hand on heart say that this I have seen support grow greatly in size, stature, and streamlining, with so many more tools to assist us daily. But in all of this change, I've always seen resolving issues for clients in the least possible time as the core driver in the teams I've worked with. The CRM team in general is tenured. Most of the CRM team have been here for 7+ years, and a good number over 10 years. And even when we get new blood from for new roles within CRM, they have usually come from other Blackbaud products where they have excelled over the years. And we also now have an amazing knowledge base. It keeps getting better. And we introduced chat and an online case portal a few years back that greatly enhanced customer contact. Now almost all of our hosted clients are in Azure, and lots of offerings could then be rolled out. My favourites being Cloud Portal, Sky API, and Marketplace. Now, you will know Cloud Portal, but if you don't, it's a self-service portal for clients where they can upgrade environments, deploy customizations, and refresh environments with production data with a few clicks. And if you have problems with Cloud Portal, you come to support. Sky API, where you can integrate faster and better with other applications using open industry standard REST APIs, which also has its own individual developer portal. And if you don't know about that portal, please check it out. It's awesome. And Marketplace, our very own Google Play Store for apps and services for your product. If you have a problem with any of those 3, support is your first point of contact. We are playing with AI to find out where it can assist us and improve us. Everyone's on the AI bandwagon, and we are no different. We have already added AI functionality to our knowledge base that assists in getting correct help much faster and with laser-focused results. We also have the developer community, a fantastic place for you to share ideas and get advice from fellow coders, which should be your first call for collaborating and brainstorming with like-minded developers. And please also check out the YouTube channel, which has great content as well. And we also have many other teams outside of support who we can engage with to assist if the issue transcends our normal support boundaries. They're all highly skilled in their field, from our hosting teams, our API teams, our developers, and multiple teams of software engineers. To summarize, you should know that you have a terrific, experienced support team at your disposal, all highly trained and highly motivated. Not that I am biased in any way at all. Now, where you can help us, or the Jerry Maguire slide, help me help you. We do not, when I put this into the slide, I thought about it. And usually on a slide, that can be seen as a very negative statement. But in this session, I think it's very positive and a key part of our engagement. It sets your expectations. It allows you to see how we work and how we will bring in other teams to resolve your issue when we need to. We do not troubleshoot customizations. Instead, we data gather them. We ask the questions and get the answers we know our colleagues will need to progress your issue. We want our colleagues in other teams to read the case notes and understand exactly, or as close to, the issue at hand. The environment, the scenario, the possible culprits, what can be ruled out, what's already been done. All those things. So we act on your behalf when an issue transcends support, and to represent you fittingly, we should have all the information at hand. Now, support staff, again, do not require code knowledge. They require case handling skills to harvest the facts of the issue, document it, and get it to a team to resolve if needed. Now, some of our support teams know their way around SDK or have taken some training on it and can build a food bank or a kitchen sink. But as a rule, we do not troubleshoot customizations. This is to ensure an even playing field for you, the client, and we, the support team. We have procedures that are long worked on and proven, and we use these procedures to deliver the utmost service and results for you. Now, engaging with support. There are times when we know we will not resolve the issue presented or even troubleshoot it, and customizations is that time. So instead, we take on that representative role. We represent you, the client, and the issue. We do the same. We fact find, we data gather in preparation to liaise with the other team. And we also know roughly what that other team is going to need from us. So in order for the issue lands with a developer or engineer, and they have everything they need just to dive in, is our optimum goal. So what support ideally looks for is to have the dev know as much about the issue as possible on the very first reading of the notes. This allows them to pick it up and work it with confidence. Essentially, we have painted them the picture of the issue. They have all the relevant info to back it up. And this is just some of the things we would look for in a case that's been raised. I'll quickly go through them. So we have the detailed and concise information is key. We don't need a story. Bullet points are absolutely great, and a few sentences describing the issue. We would like steps to duplicate. If I open CRM, having never used this software, could I navigate to the issue area and function by the steps you give? For example, steps to dupe would look a bit like click on the revenue area, click on add a payment task, choose a constituent, under application, choose pledge, choose the marketing tab, and if you search for an appeal, it will show the error. And that way, I could pass that to anyone and they could navigate straight to the issue. Now, logs, timestamps, severity, and history. If you are self-hosted, Windows event logs might give further information on what has gone wrong, and these can be very useful in a lot of situations. So if you're self-hosted and you think that the Windows event logs would be helpful, give us them. What time did the issue happen, or when did you first see it, or even become aware of it? And the severity, is it a showstopper? Is this a production issue where it is impacting users, or are you just testing on a non-production environment? And the history, has it happened before? When did it happen? Have you got case numbers? Because we can look back and bring that information out. And error messages, we love them if they're text-based and not image-based, because these error messages do get long, and we can copy and paste and run it through our systems to see if that issue has ever happened in the past. So if you can help, text-based error messages. And files, you might think that supplying a copy of your customization might help. If it does, if you think it would, attach the customization. And a bugbear, full context screenshots. Sometimes we get screenshots and they're postage stamp sized, and they don't really offer you any context as to where in the product it was taken. If there's something sensitive that you don't want us to see, you can easily blur it or blank it out, but a screenshot that shows context is fantastic. And all we're trying to do is paint a picture with descriptive language that sets a scene for us. And always the preferred contact for most customization issues would be email, simply because of the information needed if we need attachments or screenshots, etc. And to know, in my experience, what changed is probably the top question I look for to be answered, especially when the issue appears overnight or suddenly. Now, this is an example of a case that we really don't want. Now, I'm not saying this is an actual ticket support received, but I'm also not confirming I made it up. And the first thing that will happen here is for support to pick up this ticket and have to go straight back to the client for information. There will historically be a back and forth, building a picture of the issue and the information needed to diagnose if this is a product issue or a customization issue. Depending on how long that information handshake takes will define how much time is lost before the issue is worked. And giving support a picture of the issue allows the analyst to engage immediately and to call on other teams quicker and more robustly. And it's worth saying at this point that not every issue will ever require steps to dupe or error logs or generic information. Any of those steps, we always leave it up to you to decide what is needed to paint a picture for support. We don't demand from you. We just ask you, when you're reporting an issue, can you give us as much information on it as possible? Now, this is example 2, which is actually a ticket I worked maybe a month ago. And the client just nailed it with what they gave us. And I thought I would use it in this little presentation. And it is issue with Sky API, search constituent endpoint error. We are trying to use Sky API for the first time and using constituent endpoint, search endpoint, sorry. Okay, so this is probably not an outage or something the client has changed and feels more like a configuration issue straight off the bat, as it's the first time trying Sky API. I would still test the endpoint to make sure it functions for me before moving on. Then they go on to say, we are receiving the error proxy call. You do not have permission to view this directory or page. So the client has supplied a detailed error message in text format. Then they say this error happens in both Postman and in the developer portal try it endpoint. Now, the try it endpoint is simply if you log into your developer portal, you already know this, and you go to an endpoint, you have a try it function that will automatically, you can play around with it and it will automatically make a call to that endpoint. So the client has tried it in the dev portal, which is smart, and tried it in Postman, which is better still, because Postman sometimes gives a better, more detailed error and has also bypassed the try it functionality. So they've used Postman and went straight out to that endpoint. The client's tried 2 different methods, both fail. There is no coding involved or custom scenarios. Then they go on, I'm a solution admin, and they've given me sorry, their email address. Now, you must be a solution admin with marketplace rights to work through the Sky API setup. Support can check this account does not have any issues. And the fact that they've given us the email address is even better because we can reference it faster, but it also says to me that the solution admin is, in this case, David Martin. So if, maybe the developer never raised the case. Maybe it was someone from the organization, the developer's third party. So it might be a different email address and person raising the case as it is the solution admin. So to have the solution admin's email address is very helpful. So they go on. We have followed the guide on how to set up Sky API and given us the link to it. The client's following a Blackbaud guide that we can pull up and check for gotchas or clues as to why it fails for them. And then they went on even further and said, all endpoints we have tried fail with the same error. This confirms that the issue is all-encompassing. It's a whole different approach if only one or a few endpoints will not work. Support can test individual endpoints for functionality, but in this case, the client can't get any to work. And they've also tried it in production and staging environments of their CRM. Now, this suggests again that the issue is configuration and not environmental, as it happens in both environments. Then they have given us, we connect to the application successfully, and they've given us the links to where they did it. And the client has made sure they have the permission to access the environment and have successfully connected. They also dictated the steps to this function. And from that, I can definitely rule out that the person raising this, the solution admin, is definitely a solution admin, because otherwise they couldn't connect. And they've attached a screenshot of their developer portal settings. And we could see from the screenshot that the client is an application contributor, the website of the CRM instance added, and also the permission scope granted. Because the permission scope can be read-only, can be full, etc. And if they're trying to write using an endpoint, then it's not going to let them. So just seeing that screenshot again is brilliant information. And lastly, they say they're on CRM version Service Pack 32. Now, in this example, when I read down, the gotcha was obvious. The client is hosted in Blackbaud Azure, and the minimum version for Sky API is Service Pack 33 Hotfix 1, where they're only on 32. So I recommended right away, if you upgrade to Service Pack 33 Hotfix 1, and everything worked. And it was the client raised the case with that information, and within 20 minutes, I had replied back with the resolution, which was just to upgrade to the Service Pack needed. But if this wasn't a Service Pack 35 client and everything was fine, we in support would still check two things before getting it to our Sky API team and adding our troubleshooting to the clients. We would check that the client's web config had the necessary entries and that the client's org record had entitlement and the mapping was present. We would, if all checks were good, send the combined information to our Sky API team for further checks. So we would take what the client gave us, add our own troubleshooting, and get that off to a team. Again, with this, it would be with another team if it had to go to it within an hour, hour and a half tops. Now, if this was an on-premise client, there would have to be more checks done, as the setup is different. But the positive thing here is the information given allowed support to narrow down and have a clear scenario to work from. Because the client gave us detailed information, it ruled out an awful lot of possibilities and drove our focus in the correct direction. So, just to summarize, throughout this session, all of these asks for information are just that. They're only asks. Support will start to work any case we receive, no matter the information. We will always do our best for you. Of what we do, as well as ways to cut down on back and forth communications. And of course, we have covered and concluded that support are obviously great. So give us all the information you think we should need, then sprinkle some context and a pinch of what changed, and we will do the rest. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to take them.
So, David, we had a couple questions in the back. And I did my best to answer them, but you may be able to add a little bit more context to them. One question in particular was regarding the number of support analysts that are assigned to a case. And I'm thinking you might have a better answer for that. And I'm sure it has to do with timing, days, time off. But when a case gets assigned and then reassigned.
Well, a case will be assigned to one analyst only. And that is just for uniformity, that the one analyst is working with the case creator to resolve. If they go on holiday, the team leads will go through that caseload and distribute those cases. And the first thing, once those cases are distributed, is that new analyst contacts you and says, hi, I've just taken over this case. Can we move it forward, or are we still waiting on this or that information? But there should be an introduction if you have a new analyst taking over for holidays, etc. Now, we could go on there because what we're doing is we're piloting a scheme just now to make the CRM team truly global. That means if you're in the US and you raise a case outside US office hours, our Australian colleagues might pick it up and at least try to progress that case somewhat before it gets passed back to American colleagues. And the same for UK colleagues. If you raise a case before the office opens in America, we will pick that case up and we will try to progress it. Even if we can progress it just a little bit, at least it's been progressed until our American colleagues come online.
Great, thank you. And then there was another question, and again, I think I answered it correctly, but you may have some greater insight for it, and that is when it's sort of the process for updating knowledge base articles, when the steps change due to functionality improvement. Do you know what that process is?
That process, we have a team that constantly monitors the knowledge base. It's the same team that's working with the AI section of it just now, and they're constantly monitoring the knowledge base articles. But it would be great if you have the time, any clients that see something that's outdated, is just ping us a ticket and it will be changed immediately.
Terrific, great.
But yeah, we're always working and monitoring, but the knowledge base is huge.
All righty. So a couple more questions. Eric is wondering about the process that we use when a customer reports an issue and we determine that resolving the issue could require code changes in product.
Yeah.
So what are the, yeah, go ahead.
I might not have touched on it as much as what I should have in the presentation, but support, when they get a case raised for a customization, have two culprits right away. Is it the customization that's causing the problems, or is it the core product that's causing the customization the problems? So the customization is absolutely fine, but the core product is letting it down. In that case, what we would do is we would raise an internal work item to have that fixed by whichever team it is. But like all things in life, the more urgent ones get pushed to the top. And the medium severity ones, maybe just one client reporting and it only happens whatever, then there is things that have to take precedence there, because we might have 10 clients with a revenue issue, which is cash, and that cash is king. So we do triage them, but you should always be kept up to date with the progress of it, or an ETA of how long it will take. And if you aren't, then I would contact the case owner and ask for this, because these bugs are definitely tracked internally.
Great. Okay. And you can always reach out to your customer success manager and ask them to do a little digging in the background. Yeah. So one of the other questions that's come up in the chat is related to numbers of caseworkers assigned to specific products. And in this case, they're asking about Altru. Or Altru. Obviously, I don't support Altru. Do you happen to know how those are assigned?
I don't know if there's less caseworkers working Altru now, but if there's been a recent push to close Altru cases, even if they haven't been resolved, then that's not on. So our system will contact you and say, like that API one I just showed you there. I contacted that client and says, look, all you have to do is upgrade to Service Pack 33, hotfix 1, and test this again, and explain why. Then what I do is I put a status on that case, and it's closed pending. So it's not closed, it's closed pending. And it gives the client 5 working days to return to me, because I have told them I'm closing the case, and they have 5 working days to come back and say, no, actually don't close the case. So if you are, Jerome, if you are getting cases closed on you, then please flag it, because it shouldn't happen.
Great. Another question in here about when folks are directed to the idea bank, if a solution has not been found or the functionality doesn't exist. The question is whether it is possible to, is there still a process to follow by support? I'm not sure I understand that question.
I do.
Good.
Okay, so our idea bank is a thing that really deals with product gaps. For instance, a piece of, like, you would like the software to do something it was never programmed to do. And some of these ideas are fantastic and real time savers if they can be implemented. So we made the idea bank, and the idea of the idea bank is that customers vote on suggestions for product changes. And I'm not just saying this with my Blackbaud hat on, but there has been a lot of things brought out of the idea bank and put into the software, but it all depends on how many people vote on it. So you could ask for functionality X to be added to it, but if you're the only one that votes for that, then it's not going to really rise anywhere. But if you put an idea up and 20 or 30 clients all think, oh, that's an amazing idea, that would save me a lot of time, and all vote on it, then it rises to the top and it will be picked out and put into the product. But then again, there's also that caveat that would we need to rewrite half of the software just to implement this idea? So there's all those considerations as well. But I know the product manager that runs the idea bank, and I know he usually flags to me when something has been pulled out of the idea bank and added to the software. And last year, it happened quite often. So if you want your idea to raise to the top, canvas for votes. That's the secret.
Idea. Eric was actually asking a follow-up question about the percentage of ideas in the idea bank that have been implemented at this time. And that's a moving target. One of the best ways to get a feel for it is to attend the product update briefings, which happen biannually. And typically all the functionality that's being added, the product manager will reference whether that idea came from the idea bank, how many upvotes it had. But certainly we make every effort to act on the ideas that are received through that portal. Great, let me see. All right, another question in the Q&A, looking for a bit more information about the different levels of support and the, and the escalate button. This person has a support analyst who told us that they could not use Azure. I wish I hadn't started to talk about this one online with y'all. I think I should have read it first. They've been trying to get the Sky API since the beginning and still cannot make a call. So you know what, Jackie, I think David and I'll take that offline. And so we can digest it a little bit. I can come
back to Jackie on that one, definitely.
All right. Let's see if there are any other questions in here. I'm not finding any more. So I'm sort of ping-ponging back and forth between the Q&A widget on the left and the chat on the right. Let's give it a couple more minutes to see if there are any other questions that come in. All right, I'm not seeing any. I am going to launch a survey. We'll leave it up for a few minutes. There are 4 questions on it, and we would really appreciate your partnership and sort of giving us some feedback on the session. It helps us determine future sessions and what's helpful to folks. And so if you don't mind doing that, that would be terrific. I'm going to hit launch of it right now. Here we go. It should be coming up on the right for you all. And we'll leave it up for a few minutes.
Jackie, if you're still in the room, my email address is on the screen. Just drop me an email with the problems you've had and I can pick that up.
Great. Great. She got that.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned at the beginning, a recording of the session will be available within 24 hours. And so if you would like to pass it along to any of your colleagues, please do so. All righty. Well, David, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.